This program is part of the Pulitzer Prize's Centennial Campfires Initiative, a joint venture of the Pulitzer Prizes Board and the Federation of State Humanities Councils in celebration of the 2016 centennial of the prizes. The initiative seeks to illuminate the impact of journalism and the humanities on American life today, to imagine their future and to inspire new generations to consider the values represented by the body of Pulitzer Prize-winning work. For their generous support for the Campfires Initiative, we thank the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, the Ford Foundation, Carnegie Corporation of New York, the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Pulitzer Prizes Board, and Columbia University. Please join me in welcoming Joel Pett.
Well, thank you so much. I get paid to express my opinions, which, the Pulitzer Prizes are awarded for, I don't know, a couple of dozen different journalism things and some stuff in the arts, poetry and literature and stuff. And I was thinking today that for almost all the categories except maybe editorial writing and commentary and cartooning, people are doing their own research. But we sort of like bottom feed off everybody else's research, read things and then comment on them. Although I should say that Maria Henson, who won a Pulitzer at the Lexington Herald Leader for editorial writing, did all of her own research. And on the scale of what's a prize worth winning, this woman discovered in the course of just covering a routine domestic violence story that you couldn't get an emergency protective order in the state of Kentucky except during business hours. This is in 1994. You couldn't get one at night or on the weekends because nobody abuses their spouse at night or on the weekends. And we just couldn't believe it. When she came in and told us, we're like, that can't be right. It's an old law or whatever. You got that off the internet. This was before the internet, but we accused her of it anyway. And it turned out it was true, and she, my boss, to his credit, I hate that word, boss. Don't tell me what to do. My supervisor, that's almost as bad. The guy who had the job that paid more than me, who wasn't as talented as me, is what I would call him, said to her, you know what? Just write about that every day until they change it. And so she did. And eventually they did. Because, I mean, come on. And so that is the best of what journalism has to offer, and what, when it's recognized by the Pulitzer Committee, is really worth celebrating. Now the cartoons, I don't know, you can be the judge of that. People think that if you comment on the news for a living, like times like these, when stuff looks really awful, is great for you. Like all the time, people come up and go, oh yeah, well, I bet you're loving this Trump stuff. You're like, well, you really think I want the country to go down the tubes just to make an already fun and easy job marginally funner and easier? No. I mean, yeah, it's tempting to draw about either Trump or Matt Bevin for me, every day. But I mean, if you look at the choices that we have here, it's not exactly. I mean, I'm just going by the polls, right? Most people are looking at this going, oh no, really? One of those two? Is there no mechanism left whereby we can possibly come up with, some other reality TV star? So by the way, if this smell wafts into the audience from my Magnum 44, I know, an art instrument named after a killing machine. That's very American, isn't it? Danger, harmful or fatal if swallowed. That's a little consumer tip for you. So if you swallow this, it also says not to induce vomiting. So you're supposed to pass it naturally. Art instrument named after a killing machine. I really should say is anybody here armed? No? No open carry, no concealed carry? I saw the sign on the door, but hey. Nobody really follows that, right? No real man would be stopped by a little sticker, a slash through it. In Dallas, they couldn't even stop the guy. Once they had him cornered, they couldn't even stop him with guns, right? They had to send in a robot to blow him up. I heard that, I'm like, wow, a robot to blow him up. I thought about it a couple hours later, and I went, wait a minute, robot to blow him up? Has anybody ever done that? It turns out they hadn't. I mean, it's a war thing, but no police department had ever like blown up a guy they had pigeonholed already. So it's another milestone. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of being American. You know, I took one art class in college, and they brought in bowls of fruit for us to draw, and then like the next day they'd bring in a naked human for us to draw, and I'd never even seen any naked humans when I was 19. I mean, I'm sorry to admit this, but I mean, I wanted to, but that's why you go to college, right? And you could not tell the difference between my drawings of the naked humans and my drawings of the fruit. I'm just not that good at it. But over the years, you know, even if you don't do anything else every day for 30 years, eventually you get a serviceable, workable little piece of it. So for most people, there's like one or two things that sort of define them. And in the case of Donald Trump, you know, the one thing is that I guess it's hair. I don't know any reporters who've gotten actually close enough to him to really find out what's going on there, but then he's got this kind of jowly, kind of angry looking, like that, and these tiny little arms and hands. One of which is, yeah. No, that's not right. It's holding a paper or something like that. And it's really a phenomenon. I'm interested in this wall. We're going to build a wall. You know, a wall is really expensive. You know what's cheap? Ladders. $50. I don't know. You know, in the olden days, like in castle days and stuff, a wall wasn't enough, right? Once you had a wall, you're thinking, you know, I'm going to need a moat. So what about a moat that was, say, oh, I don't know, 300 miles wide and shark infested? That would work, right? We'll call it the Mediterranean. It's worked well for them. There are these legions of young Republican politicians everywhere who take this as gospel, which is government is not the answer, government is the problem. Okay, that's true, like in a ton of areas, but it's not gospel, right? You can't like be the government and have that as your slogan, like, I want to be in the government so it can do nothing. It's working. They just took a vacation, right? They get 7 weeks off now. For what? 7 weeks off. Do you get 7 weeks off in your whole life? No. Give the cameraman 7 weeks off, send Congress back to work. All right, who was after Reagan? Oh, Daddy Bush. Okay, so the men in the Bush family have that in common. And George H.W. had this big, tall head and glasses. Kind of a pencil neck like me. And his caricature really was not even determined by cartoonists. It was determined by Dana Carvey. Remember that, the Saturday Night Live comic who like forever cast him as this sort of feckless, wouldn't be prudent kind of. That just became him. It's like more him than him, which is really great. Okay, so there are two Clintons. There's the beefy-faced, big jowled, stop at the Arby's while you're jogging, pre-heart attack Clinton. Remember that guy? With the pouty little I feel your pain lip. And then you just put that, you scan that in to your computer and then, you know, Photoshop it narrower, and that's sort of what he looks like now. And I was drawing Clinton, you know, for years, two terms worth, before I realized, remember that, there's a very famous picture where Monica Lewinsky is looking up at him adoringly, and she's wearing a black beret. She's like, and I realized that if you put the beret on Clinton, like that, and then you covered up the pouty, I feel your pain lip with a mustache, and gave him some angry looking eyebrows. That's how I used to draw Saddam Hussein. But it turns out I can only draw a few things, but if you move them around, people won't notice. All right, so after Clinton, it wasn't Gore. Oh yeah, it was the other Bush. Okay, again, the DNA that runs in the family. But instead of that tall head, he had almost no head and these elf ears. And that, what I called the macho smirk, it was that look he got when he wanted to like talk tough. He'd kind of start bobbing and shaking. He'd go, we're going to get him, we're going to smoke him out, we're going to run him out. This ain't going to stand. We're going to get them. Terrorism. We're going to terror. Okay, so this is what I want to leave you with. So in this country, you do this kind of a job. That's the worst thing you get, is those people calling you up and threatening you. And it's not real. They're just like angry people. But around the world, it's a real issue. Cartoonists around the world work with an axe over their head all the time. This guy's name, Ali Ferzat, he worked in Syria. He, in fact, worked most of his career for a pro-government newspaper. He was a friend of the family of the ruling Syrian regime. And when it got sort of crazy there and he jumped ship and said, no, wait, I didn't sign on for this. You know, this is the little message they sent him. They came and grabbed him up and drove him out in the country and beat the hell out of him and broke his fingers. And that's why, third panel, this is a great country. So thank you.
I've never been in the presence of a real live cartoonist before. And I really enjoy your verbal presentation as well as your drawings. I'm just wondering, are you typical, when you meet with other cartoonists, is it like a whole stand-up festival, or are other people a little more introverted?
You know, a lot of them are really introverted. There's this odd connection I've made where, like, the more introverted you are, the more detailed your drawings are. Like, they're real cross-hatched and take 6 hours to draw because that's what they like. They like to shut the door to their office and put headphones on and draw. And I'm going to draw and draw and draw and draw. And I'm like the total opposite. I have to, like, do it as quickly as I can. I don't want to waste any of my, I don't even like it that much, the drawing. I like it when I think of it. And I'm like, yes, that's it. And then I'm like, crap, now I got to draw it. I mean, it's okay, but it's just not that great. It's like lawn mowing or dishes or something, you know, it's fine. Yeah, the groups of us are, first of all, they're mostly my demographic. This is a dying, almost dead art form. There are 23 of us left now with jobs. We've all been victims of the downsizing of print media. And they're a great bunch of people, and I look forward every year to the 2 or 3 confabs of us.
Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I appreciate it very much.